Life lessons. Take a moment and think about the different places you learned your lessons in life. Like being kind to your neighbor and treating people the way you want to be treated. Quite a few of those lessons you learned from your father or your mother or different friends. Some of them you just randomly picked up from experiences you had. Now, myself, some of my life lessons I've learned even through magic, aside from the different people in my life. And yet, I'm sure you know there's no avoiding it. Some of the life lessons are learned through painful experiences. Take a seat. It's about to get real. Hello everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood magician Magi'Chris here, and I know this video is going to be a little bit of a different tone, but just wanted to talk to you about something a little bit more close to my heart. Now, after quite a number of years of performing magic, I picked up another passion to add to my list of passions already, and this passion is salsa dancing. Yeah, believe it or not, I actually have performed magic at quite a few salsa events. So it has been great combining the two. It has taken me abroad, and it has introduced me to fantastic people of different cultures. Along the way, it's introduced me to certain people who became close friends of mine. So I'd like to introduce you to two of them. This is Alan and Michelle. They are one of the best couples I've ever known, and I first met them years ago when I was starting salsa. Generally, they were always good to me, they were always very warm and open to me, and they were great to try out new magic tricks on, and they loved it. And over the span of a few years, we were accustomed to seeing each other roughly every Tuesday night, because that's when our salsa classes were. They even attended my big birthday party. Alan, being himself, charmed my mum and loved her food. My mum cooks amazing food. Aside from being a guest, I even performed magic at their wedding party, which was like a seriously memorable evening with friends, and it was just so beautiful just seeing them finally tying the knot. That was one of those special nights in particular that I just couldn't have been more happy for them. I was really proud of them. But this is how I can describe Alan's personality. Very loving, very chummy, larger than life, big, very forward personality. The humour flowed out of this guy constantly, but he had a way of brightening your day. Yeah, and Michelle is still one of the most adorable people that I know, and I'm happy to call them both friends. Now, a number of months after that wedding party, somebody tweeted me on Twitter, and it was a company called Gift of a Wedding, and they asked me if I would consider lending my services free of charge to a wedding of a young lady who had cystic fibrosis. So I started communicating with this lady that contacted me about this. And basically they were working on putting a wedding together for this young couple, and different people were lending their time and their services to this wedding to make it very special. As I found that I could be free that night, yeah, I was definitely going to be there. So naturally she was over the moon, and I was prepping myself for this new experience. The last thing I was told by this lady was that the young lady who had cystic fibrosis desperately needed a lung transplant. Fast forward a couple of weeks, it was a Tuesday night and I'd had a really busy day, so I decided to skip the salsa class and just spend the night in to myself. So naturally I'm winding down, lying on the couch watching TV, and my phone rings. So I pick up and it's my best friend Helen, who actually happened to be at the salsa class. And she asked me, Chris, do you know Alan and Michelle quite well? I said, yeah, I do, pretty well. And she said to me, Chris, Alan died this morning. She told me that he had had a heart attack, and it was a very sudden thing, a very unexpected thing. And I said thank you to her and ended the conversation, hung up the phone. And naturally, it's really taking time to sink in. I was just frozen. Now, Alan was a guy who was generally in good health. It was something unexpected that happened with his heart, and apparently it's something that can happen to anybody. Something in his heart ruptured that morning, and even when the ambulance came, despite their efforts, they couldn't save him. And I remember, naturally crying, and I couldn't stop shaking. I know that most of you, maybe all of you, have suffered some sort of loss or grief, so you can really relate to this. But there was something about Alan's passing that really hit me hard. And and I think it's because it was so unexpected and that there was no warning. And the last time I had seen him, it was a week before he had passed away. I was leaving salsa class, saying goodbye to my friends, and I went to him to say goodbye, and he said goodbye to me in one of his favourite ways. Really warmly shake my hand, look me directly in the eye and just say, "Take care, Chris, all the best for Christmas." And I remember I smiled back and said, "See you soon, Alan." I know that we kind of got to say goodbye, but when it comes down to it, we both didn't really know that it was goodbye. The funeral was tough as well, but it was a great ceremony and I was just thankful I knew the guy. Now, it was only about a week later, I had to prepare myself and get myself in the game because I had to perform at this wedding. Bearing in mind that I was still in a state of shock, I have to be there for these newlyweds on their special day. So I arrived at the venue, but that's when I was told that this young lady wasn't a good candidate for a lung transplant. So for her, it was only a matter of time. I had this new mission to really redeem things that night. I was going to help to ensure that this wonderful new couple had a fantastic evening. I have the ability to help make special memories for this new couple, and I was not going to waste this. I was going to do this with purpose. Well, the way the rest of the night went, the bride and groom arrived. And I know I said this about just about all the brides I've performed for, but she really did look beautiful. They were both just a beautiful young couple. It was one of the more emotional first dances I've ever seen, and I must have seen thousands of first dances. Afterwards I performed for all of the guests and they absolutely loved it, and I really spent time with that young couple. I sat with them. The young guy, he was like a big kid who just enjoyed magic and he loved it. The bride was getting a kick out of it as well, and the bride would have her breathing equipment with her that she would use occasionally. Shortly before my time was up, I opened up a brand new deck of cards, and I had each of the guests write a message or sign the back of one of the playing cards until just about every single card in the deck had something on it, and then I would put all of the cards into the packet, and then I would actually give that to the bride and groom to keep. I went to them and I warmly wished them well, and I said my goodbyes. I highly recommend you look up Gift of a Wedding. They do fantastic work, so I'll provide a link in the description area. Now, I know that this true story video in particular has had quite a different tone, but there is something that I do want you to take away from this. Look, I know that at times it seems like the whole world is going crazy and everything is just rubbish, but one of the main life lessons that my friend's passing actually taught me is that life is actually very beautiful. I know there are some people out there who would find that kind of difficult to fathom, but to me personally, what makes life beautiful is the possibility that it can be taken away. Now, I know you've heard this so many times from different people, but really live life. Don't get caught up on lots of hang-ups. Start taking steps to somehow letting go of certain hang-ups that you already have. Nothing's ever simple, I'm aware of that. But let go of those arguments that are over something so simple, small, and ridiculous. If you want to go after that dream job, don't let fear of change hold you back. If you really like that girl or that guy, tell that person. Don't keep waiting and don't keep making excuses. Because right now, in this moment, you have the chance to actually do something. And it's because right now, you are alive. My friend may have passed away suddenly, but he passed away in the way that he wanted to go. Happy, madly in love, content, curled up, warm in his bed with his wife. All I can say is that it has really spurred me on even further to live life, and to be less afraid of the most ridiculous of things, to keep doing what I love. So I will keep doing magic, I will keep dancing salsa, and I will continue to do what I am here to do, but I'm gonna do it totally. Right now is where we are. So live life right now, because sometimes